Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Fat Dad Fishing Show. I'm your host, Rich Natoli, and tonight we're going to be joined by Benji, Crabbin and Fishin. You see him all over social media, a guy that I am very happy to be able to call a friend, somebody that I've been out fishing with, not enough times, but been out fishing with. And the first time I will tell you that I went out on the water with him, he outfished me. And I don't know if he remembers it, but I sure as hell remember it. This is going to be a little bit of a weird start. We're still going to do all the sponsors and everything. As a matter of fact, I got an announcement for Great Bay Outfitters, but need some audience participation help right now. I see Paul and Joe and James in the chat right now, and there's about 15 plus people on. Need a little help. I'm going to bring Benji on right away. We're going to do something a little weird. We're trying to figure out the audio here. So in chat, let me know, first of all, if I sound okay. Nothing yet. Okay. Steven, James. Oh, Rhonda. Okay, so I'm good. All right, Benji. All right, this is for all the cards. Start talking. Let's see how you sound.
All right, gonna go ahead and shuffle them out there. Joe Pups, I see you out there. My lovely wife is in attendance tonight. Can you hear me? And how do I sound?
This is what it all comes down to.
All right. I see a couple. I sound good, good, good.
Awesome. Okay, so let me just explain to everybody. So I don't know if you even notice, I typically have blue earbuds in. Keeps the echo down. It makes the editing a lot easier. They disappeared. They're my $3 earbuds. So I grabbed some other like just cheap $10 ones, and it sounds like crap. It sounds like Benji is underwater. And yeah. I just wanted to make sure I'm not the only one that can't really hear him very well. I can still hear you, but it's not great. Stephen Duda says you have better views, so awesome.
Well, Rich, let me tell you, since you put it that way, you said I sound like I'm underwater. You sound fine to me. So.
Oh, well, thank you. All right, so it's the $10 Target earbuds that I have in. All right, so these are going in the trash right after. So thanks everybody.
I'm going to get you in with a 5 below so you can get some better ones. How's that?
That sounds good. So there is some feedback. So this is going to be, that's how it's going to sound on the live stream, everyone. So it sounds like it's coming through one of the sides. It's probably coming through yours because of the, I don't know. Are you hearing me on your earbuds or on your computer?
I'm hearing you directly through my earbuds, but you're doing great.
All right, so I'll figure it out. In the podcast episode, I can actually strip that out. It just takes a little bit of work, but I can do that. All right, so let's roll with this. Before we get started, I am going to hit the sponsors. A couple of changes. The first one, actually, Great Bay Outfitters. For anyone interested in kayak fishing, you definitely want to be checking out Great Bay Outfitters, 955 Radio Road in Tuckerton. Paul, who is in the chat right now, is having a Labor Day sale. So the 28th through the 31st. It's not only the Labor Day sale, but he also has the on the water demos. So look, we've talked about it on this channel a couple of years ago when we did the episode with how to choose a kayak. And the number one recommendation is always get on the water and test it. You may think you're a Hobie guy until you get in a Hobie. You may think you're an Old Town guy until you get in an Old Town. You have to get on the water, try it out. You have the opportunity at Great Bay to get on the water. And he also has the new Garmin Force motors that you can demo, which are pretty badass. So if you're thinking about powering a kayak, head down there as well. He's going to have everything. Paul's going to have everything set up and ready to go 28th through the 31st. Make sure you get down there. It's a great way to spend your holiday weekend. Next sponsor, Quad State Tune and Kevin Driscoll. You can contact him 484-633-5975. And we're talking about Toyota trucks, especially like the 3rd gen Tacomas. You also got the 4Runner, the Tundra, even the Lexus 460 and 470. It's attuned for the engine, so you're going to get better mileage, you're going to get better performance, you're going to get better torque, horsepower, especially for towing. So if you have any questions about how that package, that tune can help you, make sure that you reach out to Kevin. And then the last one is me for real estate. And there is a change, and I want to make sure I say it out loud, because I do get calls from people that listen to the podcast and watch the live stream. And I appreciate that. I'm actually working with 2 clients right now directly through this. I have switched over from Keller Williams to Weichert Cornerstone. My phone number is still my cell number. It's still the same, 267-270-1145. RichardNatoli.com is the same, but the email address is natolirealestate@gmail. So anything you need, Southeastern Pennsylvania, I've got team members that work in New Jersey and Delaware, all up and down the coast, actually. And I even have somebody in Maine now. So if you need any help, just let me know. Happy to help you out. So with all that said, Benji, it's great to have you on.
Rich, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and that we've known each other, and come and believe you on until I switched out of here over to Salt, and then everything kind of went on hold. But now I'm back. Then Ed and I had that start. I ended up getting cancer and not doing the show for a year. And one of the things I wanted to do is make sure I reach out to the people that have been pretty important to me, whether it's being on the water with them, learning from them, or just, knowing them. I just want everybody to see the people that have had an impact on me. And you're one of them. And we've been fishing, but not often enough. But I learned from you. And I got to tell you, you are the hardest working content creator in fishing for this region that I've seen. So I have to tip my cap to you on that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to tell you a lot of my recent education came from you. In that short period of time, and yeah, you went silent. You had to go silent for a little bit, which was perfectly fine. I kind of was reading through the lines of some things that so had some seriousness going on, and I was patient. Yeah, I reached out, and I kind of got the sense of things. And then when you broke the news to everyone, I turned to my wife immediately and I said, I knew Rich had something heavy going on. But
yeah,
you beat that, and you became a grandpa. So
yeah, and I actually get to spend a whole day babysitting on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to it. And she is just a little over a year, and she can already say fish. So I'm working on it.
That's awesome.
All right. So one thing I want to start with, we have to start here because this is a big change from when we first met each other. You are now a charter captain officially, the Crabbin and Fishin charter. And why don't you just bring people up to date on that? Because I got to tell you what, I was thinking about doing a whole episode on crabbing because I couldn't get away from catching crab a few weeks ago. And so why don't you fill everyone in on what the business is, how to get a hold of you, and all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Back in April. I mean, obviously, this has been a long journey. I'm not one of those pop-up captains, charter captains. I've been doing my education. I've been studying. I've learned from Rich. I've been fishing since I was 8 years old. Believe it or not, I know you see this beautiful smile. I am 52 years old. All right, so fishing's keeping me young. And last April or this past April, I went ahead. I finally took the examination, even though I was paralyzed and petrified of going through the piloting part of the examination. For those of you who know what it is, I bought an online course for this. This November would have been 4 years that it's just been sitting in wait for me to go ahead and take this examination. But in all of the time that has passed and talking myself out of taking this exam, I've been learning. I've been going on charter trips. I've been hanging out with kayak guys like Rich. I've been hanging out with kayak guys like Joe Phillips, who's in the audience tonight, and some other folks who are in here with us. I've been fishing my literal tail off, as you can see, just learning it. learning the industry, learning where to fish, learning where not to waste time. And I started, I started in a different direction, like most folks. I started building a little bit of a following on Facebook and on YouTube, this platform, Instagram, and TikTok. But I started building relationships first. I started building resources, folks that I could lean on, folks that I could talk to and learn things from, share information with. And then, yes, so this past April, it came to fruition. Went through the number of steps, a couple of returned messages from the United States Coast Guard because a I wasn't dotted or T wasn't crossed, which it should be that way. You need to have all your P's and Q's in order. So it went pretty quickly after that. Once I got that thick package put together and sent everything over, I got that MMC credential in the mail. I happily shared it with everyone, just to let you know. But even at that point in time, I hadn't quite kicked off the advertisement of promoting the charter business. But that's where we are today. This is August. I've been getting some trips. They're starting to drip and drabble in, which is fine. It was a soft opening, and that's what I'm expecting for this first year here. I'm the name is Crabbin and Fishin. I do both. We do both. My wife is keeps me supported, and I'm gonna tell you what, Rhonda, who's in the chat right now, fellas, ladies out there, if you don't have a partner that supports you in your endeavor, you're in trouble. But my wife, she encourages me to do this fishing. All those clips that you see out there, it's because she tells me to get it done, and that's what we're doing. So now we're building the business.
I got to tell you, you and I have that in common because I'm amazed when people say, "Oh, my wife wouldn't let me go fishing." I'm like, my wife told me to go. She's like, "Get on the water. You need to get out there. You need to do your thing." And you're in the same situation. And I'll tell you what, it's also difficult because you were like me. You weren't self-employed your entire life, so you came off of a salary job, and then you're self-employed, and that is a drastic change, and that is not something you can do without the support all the way around. And yeah, we're both fortunate. Now, you did a little better. Mine's real estate, and yours is fishing. So I'm going to be jealous, or I'm going to be jealous of that.
Well, don't be jealous. I mean, coincidentally, we're going back many moons ago. I sat in the course with the old Weichert Real Estate Agency, but kind of like my college days, I wasn't real keen as the professor, if you will. So I withdrew out of that. So I had aspirations of doing real estate too. So we are very similar.
There you go. Here. This is a funny comment. So both of you guys are scoring some major brownie points with the wives from Paul. Now, Paul, my wife is not watching, and she does not watch. So I'm scoring 0. It was funny. I said when I was running down looking for those other headphones, I said to my wife, she's watching the Phillies. I said, "You want me to just put the on the big screen? I'll put on the live stream." And she looked at me like I just kicked the dog. Like, what? Why would? And then she goes, "Oh, do you want me to?" I'm like, "No, I just messing with you."
she did more than that. She gave him. I heard her giving the business down there, everyone.
Yep. She didn't want me to interfere because Trey Turner was just hitting a triple. So, yeah, I needed to leave her alone to focus. So, all right. So let's get back to your chartering, and I do want to talk specifically about crabbing at some point. But let's start on the fish side. What is it that you're most often targeting at this time of the year, late summer into early fall?
Yeah, right now I'm still getting folks who are inquiring about the back bay flounder, and I'm happy to take folks out. But I do things a little bit differently, Rich. I'll let folks know. Listen, you may not take anything home for dinner, but I can certainly show you and find some fish for you to catch, particularly if they're bringing little children with them. Youngsters to get into the game of fishing that we all love so much. I'm getting folks on the fish in the backwaters here, just like you have taught me. I'm using all the techniques and tactics, and the fish are still in that area even today. I think some of you, if you follow me on Facebook, you see I even find these fish in my crab traps. So they're where Rich taught me they were, and sometimes they're where they're not supposed to be. But right now, still focusing on flounder in the back bay side of things. and doing some, a little bit of mixed trips because Total came back in with Blackfish. So you hit the bridge in between, when you have that slack tide period. So you really have to make it enjoyable for your patrons, if you will, your customers. I call them friends because everybody that I've taken out thus far, we're now texting, we're buddies, and getting next trips lined up. So, and that's the type of operation I want to run. But yeah, it's usually a mixed trip right now, Rich.
Gotcha. How are you seeing the fluke? Now let's pretend that a hurricane didn't just go off the coast last week. Up until that, I don't even know if you've been able to hit the water again since. Most boats just started up this morning with a let's go out and pray approach to fishing. What were you seeing with the fluke in August? Or is it still one of those banner years, or have you seen it tailing off early?
I saw it tail off very early. Quite frankly, right after May, I started struggling finding keeper fish. The beginning of May, right after the opener. I don't know what the reason for that was. I mean, we had, in my opinion, perfect water temperatures in the Back Bay.
Yeah.
It warmed up gradually. Not that the fish stopped biting at any point in time, but I was having a difficult time finding fish to bring home. Which for me, it's okay. I like catching fish. If I go out and catch fish, that day was a win for me. But I haven't been out fishing since the storm blew through. I have been out crabbing, of course, but I haven't been out fishing yet.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And have you spent any time on some of the secondary species like weak fish or sheep's head?
I got a couple. You saw there was folks out there again on Facebook. I posted a couple sheep's head that I caught this year. I've already doubled or tripled my intake over the past 2-3 years with the sheep's head. So I found some new locations with that, and again, building resources, connecting with other folks where to target them. I've been out with Joe B on kayaks. I haven't forgotten the kayak, so I still pedal around on those because it's easier to find the sheep's head or tuck into a place to get to those. So I do have a couple additional sheep's heads this year as well. Not from a charter perspective, but from a personal perspective. So we'll be able to add those to the repertoire as well. Now you mentioned weak fish. Again, I told my wife earlier. She was like, "He's going to ask you what fish haven't you caught on at some point in time." And I said, "Well, I have the perfect fish, and that's the weak fish. I haven't targeted, right? But I love it. In my opinion, out of all the fish that I've caught, all the fish I've cooked and tasted, weak fish is the best tasting fish that's out there.
It's great.
But I haven't targeted. And I told my wife, I said, the reason for that is you got to get up too early to catch them. And the guys who out there who are catching them in numbers, you got to be up at the butt crack of dawn, as we say.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a morning bite and evening bite, but if you get the right spot, you're going to be able to catch them midday. And it's I mean, just for anyone who's wondering, the spots that really work well for me are going to be in the backwaters, at least. The outgoing section of a creek into a main current, and they're going to sit just inside that pocket where the current has a little bit of relief. And if you find a weak fish there, take a note of where it is in the tide and the conditions, because they will most likely be there at the same time with the same conditions. So the same tide the next day. It may be an hour later or a half an hour later, but they'll be there and they'll continue to go back over an extended period of time. And there are just some spots that will always hold them. There's a spot between Stone Harbor and Wildwood that still has them today. And it's where I used to go as a kid on the boat. It's the same spot. And every year that I've tried it, even when they weren't biting, they're just there. And I just described what the spot is. So it's a good way to do it. But you're right. It's the early morning and the late afternoon, early evening that's really going to produce in my experience.
You're absolutely right. Now, as far as the tide, and here I'm going to turn it on you. You're the host, but what part of that tide are you fishing for those, Rich? I know the area and the location very intimately that you're speaking of, but what are we talking about tide and currents with these fish?
So it's not. Let me clarify. It is not a specific tide. It is when you try that spot. If they bite, let's say 2 hours after high, they'll bite for like a half an hour maybe, and then they cut off. And I think they leave. And then it's the same amount. So if it was 2 hours after high, it's the next day, 2 hours after high. So it can change. It can change. It's just once you get a good bite on that, like a consistent bite, not just a onesie twosie, you know, I just happened to catch one. Take a note of when it is, and the next day you can try, and it'll happen for weeks. And if people aren't aware, it's the same for specks. This is one, you know, everyone, you know, that doesn't really know fish, they confuse the two, specks and weak fish. They're totally different species, but this is in one regard where they actually behave in a very similar fashion, especially in New Jersey. If you find the specks in New Jersey, write down what I just told you and do it, because you will nail those every day for 2 or 3 weeks until they just disappear.
Yeah, it's great information. That's my favorite fish that I just can't. I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I haven't focused on it. Right? You taught us.
Yeah.
You taught us. You taught me. You got to go out. You can't just target one species when you're going out, especially particularly on kayak. You got to have a game plan. Got to be one fish, two fish, three fish. You know, but in order to make a day out of it, in the backwaters, you're going to want to put together a menu of what you're going to target, and obviously make sure you have the right materials, whether it's grass shrimp, as I see in the comment section there, or maybe it's a pink plastic that you want to use. And then obviously, ultimately, you got to find the right spot in the location where the fish are at.
Yeah, definitely. And I just miss weak fish. You know, there was well over a decade where I wouldn't even try, just because not only were there so few of them, but I didn't want to catch one because I didn't want to kill one. You know, accidentally. It's not hard to kill a weak fish when you catch it, even if you release it. And but now they're all over the place until those dolphins come through and destroy the entire school. I mean, you can find millions of them in one spot, and not just the little spikes. I mean, some decent, you know, 18 to 23, 24 inchers. Not, you know, the huge ones aren't necessarily, you know, the big tide runners at 30 plus, they're not around as much, but they are there. They're around, you know, just not in the numbers.
Yeah, there's absolutely enough reports that I've seen to make me believe that there's fish around if you actually want to go out and target them. So, but that's the key, folks. You got to go out and target the species that you're looking for, particularly the weak fish or whatever the species is that you're heading out for that thing.
Right. All right. So let's pretend that the hurricane didn't come through. It's the 25th of August, and you're just going for a fun day of fishing. Let's say you and I decide, hey, we're just going to hit the water tomorrow. Where, in the perfect world, where are you going? What are you taking a boat, a kayak from shore? Because a lot of people may not know this. You do a lot of shore-based fishing too. Like you are literally, you cover the full spectrum of saltwater fishing. What are you doing? What are you targeting? What are you taking? What time are you going?
Yeah, I'm still right now. I'm taking the boat mostly because I love my skiff. I can actually take my skiff and all the practice with the kayak, again, hanging out with you, Joe Phillips, and some of the other fellows, the prior co-hosts you had going fishing. I can take that skiff in places we've gone with the kayaks with no problem, no worries, you know, none of that. So I'll take the boat. If you and I were going fishing tomorrow, we're going to hit a bridge. We're going to hit multiple bridges. And even though there's only a one fish keep limit with the tautog or the blackfish, we're going to try to catch some blackfish. And then we're going to look around, see if there's some sheep's head at the same areas. And then from there, you know, we'll figure out what we're going to do. We're going to take the popper bait, and we're going to have the fiddler crabs. We're going to have the sand fleas, and we're going to have everything we need for those. But if we were going out tomorrow, we're going to hit a bridge and see if we can find some blackfish, because that's my second favorite fish to eat. There's no more hardier fish for me. Even at one fish, that's plenty, because they're so thick, they're so hardy, they're so heavy. Yeah. There's so many ways you can cook them. It's just a great fishery for me. I even like that fishery. If someone tells me they want to take their kid out fishing and they're like, hey, well, we want to go flounder fishing, I'm going to do my best to try and turn them and say, let's go try this fishery, just because it's such a game. And that's what hooked me on it. I haven't been fishing for blackfish all that long, and I was hooked instantly. No pun intended. I was hooked instantly. It's the thrill of that fish and getting it the hook, getting that hook in that lip. Oh my goodness! And then they're so aggressive when you get it. The fight, it could be quick, it could be long. It's just an exciting fishery, even in the back. You don't have to go out to the wrecks to have fun with fish.
Right. I'll tell you a little story about tautog fishing, and it involves my brother, who actually looks like he's in the chat. So when we were little, we would always go fishing with my grandfather and my father, and it was always salt water. That's all we did. And I don't know how this happened, but somehow my little brother, met, I think the guy was a cameraman for the Eagles, and he had a house down there, and he had this little skiff, and he would always go out to a bridge, and he would always tie up and just fish all day. And this guy came over with my brother back to our house, and he talked to my dad, and he said, "Look, I'd like to take your son out. This is what we're going to do." My dad's like, "What?" Okay. He said, okay. So, so they go out to the bridge, and wouldn't you know, it was tog fishing. And this is when tog fishing was not popular. I mean, this is what, 45 years ago, maybe. And they were just slaying tog all day. And that, I don't know if my brother would agree, but to me, there was a change in my brother with fishing at that point, and he got into it. Like, tog is definitely an underrated fishery, especially for kids, because you get the rapid bites. When you're on them. And even the small fish, it's like a smallmouth. Even the small fish have a really good fight to them. And I won't turn down a tog fishing trip at all. Even the one fish limit, I don't care. I'll definitely go do it. And even if I decide I'm not going to keep anything, it's just so much fun. I just can't get it. And everyone likes to do the sheep's head now. Okay. I can't. It's too annoying to me. But the tog, I'll do the tog, definitely.
Sheep's head, it's still a diamond in the rough for me. Like I said, I only have 3 careers, so I'm not ready to turn that one loose yet. I just haven't had the time to get back out there. I've missed a couple of opportunities and invitations. But I think I can convince you to try and hook up with one, unless you have enough under your belt.
I mean, I've caught a lot of sheep's head. I've caught double digits, some really nice ones. My problem is I just can't stand the process of just, I get, it's an unpopular opinion. Paul's in the chat. I'm sorry, Paul. I know you love sheep's head. You can keep them, man. I went out with Creeley a couple of weeks ago and a couple of other guys, and they're sitting on this bridge for like 4 hours. I'm like, what the hell is wrong? I picked up, and me and Perry, we took off. We're like, let's go for fluke. It's not even a good area to go for fluke. We're like, we're not going to catch anything, but we went. We're like, when we're just watching them just hugging the bridge for hours. I was like, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it. It's a fun fight, but it's not worth the wait for me.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, that's like you've taught me. Like, you got to go multi-species. Hang out at a couple trips that I've been on, and I call my professional net man, because like you, I stink at it. I can't even get the net from under the seat, right? Yeah. So, but Joe Billups, my first 2 sheep's head, he was there. He videoed it. He's the one who brought them in the net for me. Thankfully he was there with me, so he got to share those experiences with me with the sheep's head. So, yeah. And now I call him the sheep's head king. He's like, no, I'm just getting better at it. I said, no, you're more than getting better at it, my friend. But it's not one I'm ready to give up on. We would move. I wouldn't stay there all day or 4 or 5 hours. Because once the current starts moving, like you said, like you said, you've learned and you've taught us, we got to go find something else. Let's see what else is out there. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I will tell you that my entire attitude changes if it is a multi-species day. If it's fluke, and then or striped bass, and then it's sheep's head, at a certain point in the tide, absolutely. Tog, if I'm doing tog at the same time, it's even better. Then I can actually stand it. I'll just fish the bottom and hope that I get either of the two. And then I can move back onto another species. It's just the hours and hours. It was driving me banana. I just wanted to jump in the water. I was like, this is just terrible.
Well, I mean, in addition to just sitting there trying to get that bite, get that touch, I mean, that was in between my rudder issues, because the current starts moving, you get a weight comes through, pushes you off your spot. So I'm out there again with Joe B, and I'm spinning around in circles because my rudder gets stuck on me. So, but I think we got that ironed out finally.
Oh, that would be good. Get Joe rescuing you. Actually, knowing Joe, he was probably just laughing at you.
Actually, knowing Joe, he was.
That's my experience. He likes to have fun, and I
love
when he starts singing.
He likes to have fun, and I love when he starts singing out there.
I think he told me get off the hamster wheel. I said, all right, no will, Bill.
That'll do it. That'll do it. All right, let's talk a little crabbing, because that is something that, like I said, I was out fluke fishing a few weeks ago. It was just crabs, and I was like, Benji would probably set me right on this and tell me why the crabs are in this spot where I didn't think they'd be, and then he'd tell me what I could keep and what I couldn't.
Tell me what I could keep and what I couldn't.
What were you catching? Were they males or females? Let's start there.
So it was actually both. It was mainly pregnant females.
So what I'm trying to do, folks, is extract where he was. So I know he was closer to some inlet waters. He was in a saltier area. That's where I'm going with that.
Yep.
So that's when you start running into a lot of female crabs, particularly the egg infested ones, if you will. But crabbing is a passion of mine since a young kid. My wife and I, when we first got married 15 years ago, that was one of our bonding experiences. Again, my wife loves the outdoors. I can't get her to go fishing with me, which is perfectly fine, but she won't hesitate to go crabbing. She's been asking me to get this prop on this boat for several days now. Are we going to go test the boat? Are we going to go test the boat so we can go crabbing? She will pull traps. It doesn't matter if there's 10 traps or 30. But it's kind of like flounder fishing with crabs. Salinity, again, not so much. If you're looking for the male crabs, you want to get a little lighter salinity on it, and then you want to set your line, your traps. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, drop some hand lines. It still works, but just keep in mind you're out there to have fun if you're hand lining or doing it the old-fashioned way. But yeah, I grew up crabbing in Cumberland County, New Jersey. I'm talking about down by the dairy farms. So Dividing Creek, when Beaver Dam Boat Rentals was out there, and Dividing Creek Boat Rentals, which are both closed now. That's the area I was reared in, Delaware Bay. I grew up down in far South Jersey, getting eaten up by greenheads, and when the greenheads aren't there, you got horseshoe crabs and vice versa. So a lot of obstacles and challenges with crabs, but we had one season, my wife, my son, in combination. It was one season. Again, this was way before any thought of doing the charter thing. We had a season where we caught over 1,100 crabs. Now, no, we didn't eat over 1,100 crabs. We would catch so many crabs. I'd bring them home. She and I bring them home. We're cleaning them up. And then I'm walking down the street, the cul-de-sac, knocking on the door. Hey, you like blue crabs? Giving them away. Never let them go to waste. But that's how many crabs we would catch. And we just enjoyed that bonding time together, and we still do.
Yeah, it's funny. Paul's saying that he's about excited about crabbing as I am about sheep's head. So I love crabs, and one thing that I had thought about doing with the kayak is dropping some traps and then fishing and then picking up the traps later. And I was going to do that. I was actually scouting some places 2 years ago, and a professional crabber got mad at me. I was apparently in his area, and I didn't even. I had a little hand line. I was just seeing what was down there as I'm sitting there eating lunch. I literally just hand lining a dead fish on the bottom with some weights, and he's like, "This is my area." I was like, "I literally have one hand line, dude." And he got so mad at me. I was like, "All right, I'm out of here." And I took off. You got to be careful with those crabbers. Creeley and I got swamped by some crabbers a few years ago behind Stone Harbor, of all places, because I don't know what we were doing. We were just fishing, but they didn't like us.
That's unfortunate. I mean, in my area, in these areas where I crab, matter of fact, we were in a very tight creek off of a river down here in Egg Harbor Township, and the commercial crabber was once he got done, he was up to his crab. We were running a trap line back and forth. He's like, "Hey, you want this extra bunker?" I said, "Absolutely." So fortunately, I haven't run into any experiences. I guess I guess you could say I probably know most of the commercial crabbers, at least down in this area.
Yeah.
So I haven't had that experience. My bad experience, and again, it's unfortunate because I'm a kayaker, I'm a boater, I'm a land fisherman, so I'm in all the groups, right? So
Yeah.
I get negative stuff from the voters, my fellow voters, and that's it goes with the territory.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And I actually, as I think about it, I think the one guy was mad because Creeley parked his truck where this guy wanted to park his trailer. Yeah, that was the guy behind Stone Harbor. So this guy couldn't just like drop the boat and then just pull forward. He had to pull out and down the road a little. That's right. That was that guy. The guy when I was hand lining, I don't know what his problem was. I think I was just too close to where he was, and he was definitely crabbing that creek. I mean, there were buoys all over. I'm just sitting there with the hand line. I guess he thought I was stealing. I don't know. I don't even know what size you're allowed to keep. Like I couldn't even keep anything.
Well, New Jersey has size limit on it. They're always messing with our fish sizes. It is what it is. But crabs, 4.5 inch on a hard shell crab, is all you need for New Jersey. That's one thing I wish they would expand the range on. If they bump that up to 5 inches, I wouldn't be mad because, and the reason behind that is we'd have much larger crabs here, after their molt season. And the average lifespan here, because of the 4.5 inch requirement, I mean, a crab lives 3, maybe 4 years if they're lucky. It's fortunate. We're fortunate that an egg-laden female crab, they drop 700,000 to a million and a half eggs every time they do that, and they do that multiple times during a summer and based on the water temperature, etc. So, they're dropping those eggs. It's certainly important to put those back, put females back. But listen, I follow the state regulations. If they don't have eggs, it's later in the season. I'm certainly not going to tell a client, hey, you should put that female crab back. It's a legal crab. It's over 4.5 inches. And quite frankly, they're usually bigger than the males that we have here in New Jersey. But I'm not mad because somebody wants to keep a female crab. 4.5 inches, it's a lot of work after you've steamed it up. So again, that's something that, I'm not going to go out and raise a flag on it. But if they change that to 5 inches, I mean, I'm all for it. Sure, you can do self-calling. You can self-police, but at the same time, there's a lot of folks out there. Other thing about the size of crabs, there's this misnomer, and we tend to do this as people also over the fish, right? We see people, or we say people, whoever it is, oh, you're keeping undersized fish, you're keeping undersized crabs. But you got to understand that some of those crabs could potentially, and I don't know anybody's heart, I don't know what they're keeping the crab for, but I can't just automatically say, oh, you keep undersized crab, because you can keep a peeler crab at, I think it's 3 inches. You can keep a 3-inch crab, and a peeler crab, the only way that you can tell that that's a peeler crab or not a peeler crab, there's on their flipper paddles, how they swim. They have 3 different colors you have to look for. It's white, pink, and red. And what those colors tell you, it tells you how soon they're actually getting ready to molt that shell that they're in.
Really?
But that's still a free game crab if you're going to use it for bait. Stripers love them. Joe B knows that a particular fish likes those small crabs, those peeler crabs. A shutter crab, peeler crab, they're different than a soft shell crab. And even a soft shell crab doesn't have to be 4.5 inches. A soft shell crab, if you happen to scoop it up, because it's unlikely you're going to get one in a crab pot or certainly not on a hand line. They don't have to be 4 inches for a soft shell crab. But if you get to scoop one up, it only has to be 4 inches. A lot of folks playing policemen, and they're not really 100% on the regulations that they're trying to enforce. It's great that we do that, but let's have our P's and Q's right while we're doing that.
It's funny. I could certainly make an estimation of whether or not something's 4.5 inches, or 4-inch crab, or it's undersized. But you just blew my mind. There's pink, white, and red flipper. Okay, I'll take your word for it. It's a good thing I'm not keeping anything as far as crabs. Then I'll go out with you and I'll let you show me what I can keep.
It's kind of like I know this is a family show, but it's kind of like a pregnancy test. When you look at it, you're looking for a line on that small crab. It's only a line, and it tells you one color or the other. And again, it just says, well, they're 3 weeks. It gives you an estimate that they might be 3 weeks away from shedding that shell, or they might even only be 4 days away from shutting the shell, depending on what color that line is.
I never knew that. Never knew that. Well, here's a question for you. It's a good one. I was going to ask this from Joseph Kiley. What's your go-to bait for crabs? And they're saying you have to know all the secrets.
Well, and I'm happy to share them because you still got to be able to get out there and get them. Same thing with the fish. I'm happy to share any information that I learn. It's not mine. I don't own these crabs. There's plenty to go around. I just fish. There's plenty to go around. But anyway, the way that I crab and I use these open top traps, I use a chicken neck mostly, as long as I can get them in bulk supply from a local butcher shop, at a decent price. I've even used drumsticks for crab. In my own opinion and in my experience, you can use native fish if you're in an area that's heavily populated with, say, white perch, even some fluke racks. I mean, you got to be careful with that. But any fish racks that you want to tie into a net or a trap, you can use those. But my go-to is a chicken neck. Is chicken for catching crabs.
Yeah, that's what they use down in Maryland.
There's a place for bunker, but I believe that's for your hotel style. Like we can get a $2 crab pot license, and we can put 2 pots out per person. That's where I think you're going to mostly benefit using bunker or an oily type fish, maybe a bluefish, something that you got left over. You throw those in there where it's going to sit overnight. You got to check that within 3 days, by the way. That's where you're getting the benefit of that oily scent, putting that slick out so you can go and catch your crabs. But to put those on a hand line, put bunker on a hand line or a perch rack on a hand line or in a trap, I won't do it. I just haven't had success with it. And I've caught a lot of crabs.
So how long are you leaving those traps out?
The traps that I'm working, like these topless traps, we literally drop anywhere from 20, sometimes 40 traps in a line. Sometimes I got a half-mile line that we're running. And by the time we get to the end, Rich, we turn right around. We race back depending on which way the current's moving and or the wind. Wherever that wind and the current's putting my float, that dictates what side I need to pull traps from. A little bit of science. It's not rocket science, but there's a little bit to know about it so that you're not pulling a trap from underneath the boat. But to answer your question, by the time we get done, drop that last trap, we're flying back to the beginning and starting over. And if the current's moving, we got water flow, crabs are going to be in your trap. So it's immediate. As soon as you turn around and you run that as many times as you got. Most of most crabbing charters, even the couple of competitors down here in the area, 3-hour trip, and catching hundreds of crabs in those 3-hour period, time. You don't need a lot of time to catch crabs. Now, again, if you want to crab, you can spend all day and catch yourself a dozen and a half. But the people I know want to catch crabs and then they want to go home and eat them, have a feast.
Right.
Yeah, I'm in that group. Why not? So let me ask you this: what's the weirdest thing you ever caught in the trap?
I caught everything from eels. Again, I had that little baby flounder yesterday or day before yesterday. Last season or 2 seasons ago, I think Facebook followers, they saw that post. My son pulled up a 19-inch keeper in a crab trap, and he went home. Like, you catch some oyster crackers. You catch any fish out there you would on a hook. A lot of times you get some of them real micro black sea bass will be in there, but everything out there you're fishing for, they like chicken.
Yeah.
So much so, I'll tell you what, so much so, I've caught so many flounder in the crab traps. I'm one of these times, people use bacon to catch flounder, this, that, and the other thing because of the action on it. I'm gonna slide a chicken breast, a boneless breast out of the refrigerator on my wife, make sure she's not paying attention, and I'm going to slice some slivers off, and I want to take that and try that for flounder or fluke fishing one of these times.
So I'll tell you, I think I've told this story before, and anyone that's fished Delaware Bay back in, I guess, the 80s, it was big. It was raw chicken, was a big fluke bait and very successful. But every year there would be issues because of multiple people being hospitalized for salmonella poisoning because they were baiting the hooks. They were catching plenty of fluke on them and they weren't washing their hands. They're just rinsing their hands in the salt water and then eating their lunches. right? Or they're touching their mouth, or they're having a cigarette, or they're putting in a chew, and all of a sudden they got the raw chicken in their mouth. And yeah, so I actually talked about that on here. It's a great bait for fluke, as long as you keep in mind that you are literally handling raw chicken throughout the day, and by the end of the day, it's usually hot raw chicken. So yeah, I would absolutely recommend using it. Yeah.
Yeah, hand sanitizer is that's a what do you call a staple on the boat. Got a nice big jug of hand sanitizer. Yeah, got to rinse it off. I got some crap going on with my hands. Talking about blackfish earlier. I got that green crab issue. This started back in April. I'm still dealing with it. Whatever that excretion is that if you don't wash them off and rinse them when you try to save them for the next day, I'm still dealing with it. So, yeah, you got to be careful with that stuff. So I'm wearing plastic gloves or latex gloves and everything right now these days, trying to get this thing cleared up.
Yeah, it's like an acid from them. Yeah, I know. I've had them dead in my car. Yeah, it can really ruin a car, and it can ruin your hands. I really don't like green crabs at all. They're terrible. I mean, I use them all the time for cod, but they're one of the least favorite things to handle. The green crabs and eels. I hate eels.
Yeah, they're tough. I use the eels for striper. Whenever it's you're supposed to use them. But man, I hate trying to get them things on the hook. And even if you do get them on the hook and you're using the swivels like you're supposed to, oh my gosh, you spend more time unraveling your line with these eels, and they're just tough. I have yet to figure out maybe somebody in the chat can tell us, how do you grip up an eel good enough to get him on the hook quick? You got to move fast, but
so I'll tell you how I do it, and hopefully we don't get people mad at me. First of all, you keep them on ice. So you put you dunk, obviously, disposable towels, old rags. You dump them in the salt water. You throw the rag on top of the ice, and then you throw the eels on top of that. You throw another one on top to kind of sandwich them in. They won't stay necessarily very long, but if it's really cold in there, they get really slow. Then when you want one, you just reach in and you just grab around that top one until you have one. Smack its head. You don't have to smack it hard, and it'll just kind of be real slow and lethargic. Just bait that up. You put it in the water, and it is up, it is awake, and it is just going crazy within like 15-20 seconds. So like an instant revival on them. Just put them right through that bottom lip. And that's how I do it. A lot of people may not, I mean, probably not with this channel, but PETA people won't like the smack its head part. But it is what it is.
I didn't think about that. I mean, the same thing with the crabs. Put them on ice before you do what you got to do to get them prepared. But yeah, I didn't think about that. Put them on ice, chill them down, slow them down. I do use a rag, and I'm telling you, maybe my rags have satin in them or something because I still can't hold on to them. But
no, I mean, there's nothing you can do with an eel. I mean, there's nothing. The only thing that can even get the slime off of you is sand, as far as I'm concerned. Like, you got to just put sand all over your hand and just scrub sand in the salt water. That's how I used to wash it off. But yeah, the rags get slimy and then it's done. But that's what I do. And look, say whatever you want about me. I'm going to use a rag because I don't want the slime all over me. Call me whatever you want. I'm beyond that now, man. I just don't want it. And then when you grab them by the head, and sometimes they wrap around your arm and they back up. Oh my God. Then you have one going up your shirt, around your neck, and you can't stop it. It'll just keep going backwards. I can't stand eels.
I'm not a fan of any type of reptile. I don't like frogs. Definitely don't like snakes, and an eel fits right in there. I know it's out the salt water. I can't do it. I just don't, but it's a necessary evil to catch a striped bass sometimes. So it's just, it is what it is. You can make them cold. Folks all the time get mad at me because I don't put the fish on ice right away. Well, I put my bait on ice.
Yeah. You put the important stuff. I don't put fish on ice right away. I'll actually bleed them for a really long time. I'll let them stay alive in the water for as long as possible. Then I'll bleed them. Hopefully a shark doesn't come get them, and then I'll throw them in on the ice. It's just the way I do it.
I've had I got one of those big, I don't know, one of those big cooler sack bags, if you want it. I put water in there. It's cool water. I've had Tog last me from absecon all the way back to my home base up near Deptford, New Jersey. So almost back to Philadelphia. And they're still alive and kicking like they were never, hooked and pulled out the water. I'm like, yeah, I know that you like to bleed your fish. I'm like, but you can't get a fresher fish than this one right here. Like,
so that's the way I look at it. Keep it alive, unless it's a shark. I want to keep it alive as long as possible. Shark, yeah, I'm going to gut that thing as fast as possible. But no, like a fluke. That's why I always have fluke to get attacked by sharks. Is because I try to keep them alive on the stringer as long as possible. I'm not jamming it through the gills and hurting them. Sometimes I'm just putting it through the bottom of their lip, like in between the jaw bones. I'm just piercing it through there so that they can swim and stay alive. It's really fresh.
You had far too many shark encounters with those sometimes hard to find fluke. I tell you that. Goodness.
I've thought maybe I would put a camera underwater on one of them and on the stringer someday just to see, how many come by and don't actually grab it. And you'll appreciate this because of all the content creation you did. The friggin' camera leaked. So this underwater camera, one of my DJIs is dead. So there's a $400, mistake. So I'm down one good camera.
Listen, losing cameras. I mean, again, I've lost equipment on the kayak. Hard lesson learned. I lost a GoPro with that. I lost 3 out of 4 fishing poles that were with me. Yep. Then I went to these video sunglasses and went to set the hook on a striped bass and knock the glasses off and down there at the bottom somewhere. Like, it's just the amount of video equipment, for all the video that you see, going through some video equipment to get that stuff together. And a lot of times you don't even see a lot of the stuff because I'm afraid to take, I'm afraid to take it back out there. I'm like, I don't want to lose it when I'm not using it.
Yeah.
That's like me and my drone. I got a drone and I rarely bring it on the water because it's such a pain in the neck to land it, because you have to land it in your hand when you're on a kayak. And it's really hard to land a drone in your hand when you're moving, because once you say land, it's going to land. So if you miss it, it's in the water, and those things, they're not waterproof. Mine is not waterproof at all. So yeah, I know the whole thing. I don't like bringing out all my cameras. So I very rarely post videos anymore. I'm more just video for myself at this point, and I just focus more on this show. But yeah, that was an expensive mistake. I was really disappointed. I'll tell you what, scared the hell out of me because I didn't even notice until I got home after a 2-hour drive, and I had just thrown the camera in the back of the truck, and it's laying across the back seat, and the lithium battery starts smoking right when I get in the driveway. I was like, oh my God. And so I had to take it out. I was lucky I could pop the battery out, and I just let it sit in the middle of the driveway. And it didn't ignite or anything, but it was damn near close. But the camera's dead. Totally dead.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what. Listen, for content creation and just sharing the experiences of these different fish, I've had the $300 GoPro, and I got a $20 chest cam camera, and the pictures that I've posted, the video that I've posted, you can't tell the difference in quality from those videos at this point. Based on the technology and things. So anybody who's looking to video your catch or video your outings, you don't have to spend a ton of money to be able to capture your moments, especially when you're taking your kids out, things you want to remember. You don't have to spend a lot of money on the video equipment. You get something, clip it on yourself, on your necktie or whatever, where your necktie would be, and you can rock and roll with it. Put it on loop-de-loop, and you have yourself some memories, until you erase them or get rid of them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, we should do a show just on how to create on the water content. Whether people want to start a YouTube channel or just do Facebook or any social media thing, or just collect the things, because there are a lot of things that are overblown that people think you have to do that you just don't have to do. It's a lot easier to get things rolling. Now, if you're going to do a full YouTube channel, that's different. There's a lot of YouTube specific stuff that you have to do if you really want to grow a channel and grow your social media presence through YouTube. But if you just want to be able to get some decent videos and grab some cool pictures from those videos, which by the way is how most people do it, they just video and then they screen grab something out of there. We should probably we should sit down sometime and just kind of go through that so that people can see the best way to do it.
I'm chuckling. I tell you, between you and Paul up there at Great Bay Outfitters, and I can't. I'm about to fall off my seat. He's helping us out with his own personal reefs for us. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's I've dumped stuff. I talk about it all the time. I went over in the Raritan. That was bad. I lost almost everything, and I on purpose too, because the fishing lines were all caught around my legs, and I couldn't break the braid, so I ended up cutting loose 2 rods. Another one was just gone. Lost a camera, lost an underwater camera that was just sitting in the cockpit. It wasn't attached to anything. So when it was, and I was totally upside down. So that's gone. And then the worst one was, Benji, I launched in a sound. And it was maybe 2 feet deep, 3 feet max where I was when I reached behind me to put the rod in the rod holder, and I missed. And I was like, oh shit. And I saw it. I was like, oh, all right, I'll go get it. And I'm looking at it, and all I did is glance to my right to grab my net. And I looked back and I couldn't find it again. I searched forever. I could not find. I mean, it's literally 10 feet from where I launched. It's like knee deep. And some kid is watching me. And I looked at him. I said, he's got this big surf rod. I don't know what the heck he was going to do with it. And I said, are you going to be here for a while? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I dropped my fishing rod. And he's like, I saw. I was like, why don't you just cast over here and drag the bottom and catch it and keep it? I was like, and just so you know, it's a $200 reel on there. It's all yours. I don't want it back. But if you're here when I get back, just let me know if you got it or not. And wouldn't you know, I got back at the end of the day. He was still there. He was crabbing at the end of the day. I was like, did you get it? He's like, no. He's like, no. That's so bad. There was a new Stratic on it.
Oh my God. There's a very nice video. I like those quite a bit. But
that's why I use cheap reels now.
Over there crabbing. Folks, there's a lot of places that you can. That's why I use cheap reels now. Well, you know, people laugh at me. I mean, but again, you see all that content. I mean, I catch fish on $4 reels and $26 fishing poles, and I have a lot of fun doing it. So, I can, you know, and I'm not knocking. If maybe one day when I graduate, I'll spend a lot of money on the equipment. But right now, what I have works for me. I you know, everybody has their own personal feel, right? Every rod's not the same. You know, I got a rod that's heavy power, fast action tip. I love it for what I'm fishing for. I got another one, medium heavy, that's fast action. Again, I catch the same exact fish on it. You know, I'm talking 19-inch togs, 19-inch blackfish from land. That's a big fish in the back. You know, it's sure. Yeah. No, it's not a double dip. Yeah. That's a big fish on that pole. That pole handles it perfect. You know, a lot of the poles, when I find them, I'll go out and I'll buy a second one if I like it, you know, just to have up on the rack, because if and when that one goes, I got it. Most of my poles, by the way, you know, I know you've seen a couple of my poles have just, you know, completely exploded on me. Some of those, it's not because it's cheap. It's actually had, you know, some stress on it that it shouldn't have had. And it finally just gave way. And that's why I have those backups for those particular poles. But I was going to say about the crabbing. Stone Harbor, Avalon, Sea City, any of those places where you can find a municipal boat ramp, you can launch from there if you got a boat. There's land-based opportunities for you. If you want to learn some of those areas, come hang out with me. Crabbin and Fishin, crabbinfishing.com. You can book a trip there. Check me out on Facebook. And again, I'd be happy to come out with you. We're gonna have fun, you know. First and foremost, if you want to come out and be grumpy, I don't know if we're a good pair up for that. So. But we're definitely about having fun and getting out there. We're going to catch crabs. We're not just going to go crabbing. At least I'm going to try to talk you out of that. And if you want to go fishing, I'll take you fishing.
That sounds good. You busy on Friday?
I may be. Are you available?
I might be. I'm meeting a client down in New Jersey, but after that, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm tempted to bring some fishing stuff down.
Well, I'll put some fishing stuff in there. I will. I will block off my Friday date because I got a couple trips, scheduled, but Friday's open at the moment.
All right. I'll text you when we get closer. I don't know what time I'm supposed to meet him yet.
I don't know if Billy Ackerman's still in there. Billy Ackerman still owes me a fishing trip. I don't think we needed to go up to Montauk or what have you. Not that you owe me a fishing trip, but we owe each other an outing. This is going back 4 or 5 years now, Rich. So Billy and I every season we say we got to get out and go fishing. We haven't done it yet, so we got to get on point and on purpose and get that done.
Yeah, so let me just tell you a little something about Billy Ackerman. Love the man, but he owes me a fishing trip as well, and he's owed me a fishing trip for years. And we need to get him on the water. He always has an excuse. He's sports and all these things for the kid. We don't care, Billy. Just get out on the water.
Yeah, and also there's some fun. There might be some folks on here don't know me as the as charter boat captain or what have you. But like I said, I like to have fun when I take folks out, and I don't mind sharing information. When I post a picture, but I'll tell you what will irritate me if I don't know you, if you don't take the time to get to know me, I do have a difficult time sharing. So if you're going to ask someone, where that location is, where'd you catch the fish, this, that, and the other thing, at least introduce yourself. Try to build a relationship or a rapport with folks, before you start asking information. That's any relationship, and fishermen, we're protective, but we will share, but you got to go about it the right way. That's my PSA on how to find fishing information. Otherwise, you got to pay for it. I don't know. Rich never talks about it, but Rich invited me out on that kayak trip, and Rich he had a series out there, a couple hours worth of his time that he put together. Fat Dad Fishing. I bought it. I'm not afraid to buy education stuff to learn how to fish. That's why I go out on these charter boats, these party boats, 6-packs to learn these things. I'm not afraid to pay for that education. That's sometimes what you need to do, folks. Yep. You go out and do that, buy your education, give the folks, build a relationship. You learn more than just how to catch fish. You know where to go if you got a boat or if you're going to get a boat in the future. But, you got to make the investment is what I'm saying. Fat Dad Fishing, he's got that out there. I was looking at it earlier. I look at it every year when flounder season's coming around to see what I missed, what I may have forgotten. And then I put those techniques and tactics together. Rich, I learned a lot of stuff from Rich. He had a guest on a couple of weeks ago, John Skinner. I got, I ordered and watched John Skinner's video series on catching fluke. I bought his book. I had an opportunity to meet him up at a fishing show. And then I got to mention my friend, Nick Honishevsky. Nick Honishevsky, Saltwater Underground. He knows and has seen thousands of people, right? He's on TV and whenever his shows are there, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, whenever it is. But it doesn't matter the venue or where we are. When I walk in a room, Nick knows me. He shouts out my name, "Hey Benji." So I don't care what other people think about him. He'll always be a friend to me because he knows me when I walk in the door somewhere. And I've learned a lot from him. Frank Mahalik, one of my neighbors, he lives in the same neighborhood, teaching me things about blackfishing, equipment, fishing rods, hooks, things of that nature. Building relationship, building resources, not just asking people questions, where'd you get the fish? How do you get the fish? You got to build the relationship, build your network. And my network is pretty tight. Rich is in that circle of mine, which is very, very small. So build yourself your Rolodex and resource.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. And I'll tell you, Nick Honishevsky we're talking right now about him coming on sometime in the next few weeks, hopefully, especially before the tournament, the Beach Bash kicks off. I have to agree. You invest in some knowledge, and if that means going on a charter with somebody, do it. Pay that captain and learn from it. The best captains are the ones that will talk to you and will teach you. They're not necessarily the ones that are teaching you the second they come on, but they're the ones that if you show an interest and start asking questions, they'll share information. They're not going to tell you, hey, take my numbers. just come right back to this spot, but they'll explain why they're fishing certain bottoms, what they're looking for at that time of the year. Skinner was awesome. Skinner, he shares everything. He was awesome. Nick shares a ton of information, and he's got just this wide expanse of information that he knows about every freaking species. Like, you want to talk weak fish? We could do an episode just on weak fish with him. We could do it just on bonito. We could do it on any fish with him. So that'll be interesting to figure out what we're going to talk about when he comes on. But I agree. It does come down to the network. You need to be able to reach out to people. One of the reasons I didn't fish this past weekend, I thought it was going to be bad, but because I reached out to 2 people in different areas of the state of New Jersey, and I said, is it worth it for me and these other guys to come down? And they said, no, not for this. And the one said, only if you come at this time, and it's going to be a crapshoot. So we stayed at home. I saved the 4 hours in the car, 2 down, 2 back for that. But I'll often get a text from those guys, and they'll say, look, this just changed. So next time you hit the water, try this, and it helps. Time on the water is important, but your network helps cut down the amount of time that you have to be out there with trial and error.
Absolutely. Like I said, Rich I called him sensei and mentor for a long time. I don't know if it made him smile, if it got on his nerve, but that's the relationship that Rich and I have over the years. We've that relationship has grown. I could ask him a question, he'd respond, because it built a relationship. He's not doing it just because I bought his course. It's because I invested that time. We went fishing in a group of us on what was it, the Osprey or what have you. He put the invite out from one of the fishing from the shows here, and again, just like-minded guys getting out together, sharing stories, sharing techniques and tactics. There's a couple other tight resources that I have as far as that's concerned that I'd like to mention. Over in the Atlantic City side of things, Rap Seeking. Captain Josh's Fishing and Charters. I'm doing the same thing, right? But they're not my competitors. They're my friends. We help each other out. If he's full, he's sending me people. If I'm full, I'm sending him people. And then down here in Summers Point, where I'm pretty much based, I got D&D Fishing and Charters over there. These guys aren't competition to me, and that's how our fishing should be. Like our groups, we need to help each other out and stop yelling and screaming at each other all the time and racing past each other in boats and kayaks and things like that. Take care of each other, and that's how I feel about it. It's nothing for me to share some information with you, but build the relationship first.
I've seen more drama in fishing. It is embarrassing to watch some of these clowns when they just start bitching and whining about the dumbest thing. That's my spot. Come on, man. First of all, it's not your spot. Second of all, I'm older than you. I've been fishing it since I was a little kid. So if anybody's spot, it's my spot. But you can't have it because it's a public area. Like all of that. And the drama online, it's like, just get over yourselves. Yes, you catch this fish. Congrats. I'm really happy for you. So did the 17 other people next to you. Like, just get over yourselves. Create a network of people that enjoy each other, enjoying helping each other. That's what I like about it. I don't get involved in all that stuff. We get people that troll this channel, and I really don't get upset. It's like, okay, I know you just watched, and by the way, I just got that ad revenue. So keep bitching, keep engaging, because YouTube sees your engagement. It just elevates the content for the next guy. So, all right, you don't like me, you don't like my guest. Great. Tell me about it. Please tell me about it, and tell me about it again. And when I say something defending myself or somebody else, so you'll comment again. So the algorithm loves me even more. So I don't know, man. It's just
you
crazy.
You understand it. And that's why I just simply say thank you. I mean, some of these guys are like, oh my goodness, I don't know how you handle it. I would have lost my mind. I'm like, what? I can't get mad. I mean, the moment you get mad at a negative comment, and this is in life too, folks. Here's my life lesson for you. Look, the moment you accept it, now it's yours. You own it. If you don't accept it, it stays with them. They got to keep it.
Yeah. Fishing's too much fun to have drama in it. I just won't do it. Won't do it. But
that one you just said though about this is my spot. Why are you fishing here? La 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 la. I'm like, well, you're fishing because it's a challenge, right? Well, if I'm in your spot, go find another spot so you can now be challenged. Those are the types of things that I think. So But Rich, thanks so much for having me on. I really truly appreciate it, and everybody who joined, this evening.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. By the way, I plan on trying to get together another trip on the Osprey or another boat this fall for Tog. I had a lot of fun. I'll be honest, the last time that we did it, I wasn't feeling well that whole day. So I tried my best, but I was really off my game. And I feel great now, and I have no reason to think I won't feel great moving forward. So, that's what happens when you lose 70 pounds. You feel, you feel a little better. So I'm looking forward to doing a trip this fall, early winter. And I think the Osprey was a great boat, great captain and crew. Yeah, I think we got to get that together, and you got to be on that again. And what's Paul saying in there? Oh yeah. You won You did win, didn't you? That's right. You won the rod.
Paul took care of me on that one. I get that tsunami rod. I appreciate that very much.
We're gonna have to do it. We'll do another one this year, and maybe you and I can team up on it, and we'll try to get as many. Let's try to fill the entire boat. That would be a lot of fun.
Let's do
Awesome.
it. Let's talk soon. And if you're available Friday, let's catch up later this week or what have you. But go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah, I'll shoot you a text this week. We'll figure out if we can get out on Friday. Yeah, so thanks again for coming on. I'm going to be announcing guests coming up shortly. I will mention that we're going to have Kayla Hale in a couple of weeks. We're going to have some of the larger, a couple of other large name YouTube fishermen that have some really interesting things. I haven't reached out to him yet just because of what recently happened to him, but I do want to see if we can get Captain Joey Leggio back on. For those that aren't aware, and I'll put a link in here for a GoFundMe. Captain Leggio, he's been on the show before a couple of times. We've talked striped bass, we've talked about cobia fishing, and he had a boating accident about a week and a half ago, I think it was. They hit a wake. They were sheep's head fishing. They hit a wake in the backwaters. He went overboard. I believe it was a prop strike across his arm. Almost lost the lower part of his arm. Luckily, they were able to rush him to a close restaurant that was on the water, and there were 3 emergency nurses there that were able to apply tourniquets and keep the arm that was dangling alive. And through surgery, he's going to keep his hand, it looks like. But he's a captain. He is not fishing. He is not able to take people out. Great guy, wonderful, lovely family. So he has 0 income coming in for him right now. So if you can throw any support his way, please do so. There are links already on the Fat Dad Fishing Facebook page. The last podcast episode, I'll get one into this later too, but even just a couple of bucks, I'm sure will mean a lot to him. But I wanted to have him come on anyway, but I'm wondering if I can get some of these guys together. Let's talk about the crap that happens when you're on the water, because way too many crazy things happen. We had a tragedy in Barnegat Inlet just yesterday with a death of a fisherman from Princeton and pretty bad injury to his son, but looks like his son's going to be okay. So I think maybe some water safety stuff might be something good to talk about coming up. So we'll see about that. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Benji, thanks again, man. I'll be texting you soon. And everybody, until next week, everyone, post-hurricane, get out there, get on the water, get some tight lines.